I don't know.
I'm live.
Hold on 1 second, guys.
Cha-ching.
Sorry. Hold on.
So right now I'm listening to Titanium Built with Tanya. Um, I'm replaying the beginning of her live because she's talking about um, that she may. Oh, did it stop or she? No, she's paused. I'll just put it on pause. Yeah, she's talking about all the creators are talking about the cuts in revenue that YouTube has been happening across the platform. Anyway, let me rewind because today it's Saturday, April 4th, 2026. My name's Tina Lucille. I um, Okay, I just totally lost my ADHD has been on fire, fire, fire this last week or so, or maybe 2 weeks. Sometimes, those of us, if you know, who have ADHD, um, like sometimes we can just kind of get through our day and, you know, we deal with things, and sometimes it's just so that's what it's been like. So it's been a couple weeks since I got on alive, just for various reasons. A couple of things, uh, everything that's going on out in the political world and how it affects us all, and how people are just acting. People who support the felon and his goons act you know, like the emperor, has his clothes on when he's walking around his fat orange ass, um, stark naked. Who wants to see that? Oh, that's an awful picture in my head. Anyway, so it's just lunacy out there, and so that was kind of just that was just kind of getting to me. I don't watch TV. I cut the cable cord probably 25 years ago, maybe longer. I was never one to just watch the 24-hour news cycle. I don't do that on any other platform. However, I do watch Don Lemon, and it's funny because I didn't really watch him on CNN. Occasionally, I watched him on CNN. I mean, I knew of Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper and whoever else was on that channel, but I was not a 24-hour watcher, you know. Um, but I am aware of what's going on, and it's too much. I was going to go to the No Kings March because it was literally right downstairs. Um, but I thought, I went to the last one. I'll probably go to the next one. I just kind of needed a break. It's like, because I could feel it throughout like, the wrongness of what's happening throughout my whole being. Like, most of us. Uh, so I did write a list of what topics I might talk about. That wasn't on the top of my list. It just kind of like, it's just going to be a random chit chat. Um, and I am just whatever pops into my head. But I do have a list so I don't go too crazy off the rails. Um, Quick Cassie update. She's all 100%. She met her new vet last week. Not really impressed with her. Um, so I went there because my cousins went there. I mean, it's new to them too. They're new to the area too. So they went and they seemed like they liked it over there. I mean, it's really close to their home. It's not too far from me, but I was not impressed with her. So I'm gonna look around closer to home. And I got some recommendations from some people who live around here. So, but anyway, I mean, everything's good. They did detect a possible heart murmur, but she didn't really go into like detail. Like she was right away wanting me like go get a cardio echocardiogram. She has no symptoms. She's 13 years old, almost 13 years old. She just had a wellness check a couple of months ago. No other vet detected anything. So she kind of looked at me like accusatory, like, about this heart murmur. Like she kind of was like, look, I just didn't like the vibe her and that, that she was giving off to me. But anyway, so, um, because I was right up front, I am not, it's privately owned right now, but I could tell you right now, she's got one foot into retirement. She's had the clinic since the 90s. And this is what happened with our last vet, um, that the owners, one of the owners wanted to go into retirement. So she sold her share to a private equity. And that just blew up their clinic. So the other owner, she was partial owner, she's a vet. She um, hung around for as long as she could, but it's a nightmare because the level of care, you feel like you're walking onto a used car lot because they're trying to sell you this medication, these tests, do this, blah 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 blah. And our, she was my cousin's vet for 15 years, still is, because my cousin's, she went to another place, but or she's opening her own clinic, but she had to leave because they were overcharging people, over testing these animals, over medicating, all the things that these private equity owned veterinarian clinics do. In 2012 is when it started because it happened to one of my vets. I mean, my original vet for Cassie, and then for my Zusi, because we moved to a different area. But I, as soon as she sold her like shares to a private equity, things changed. More techs came on, and they were just selling stuff and like shaming people into buying medication and prescription. It was just, and um, she quietly slipped off to retirement and then sold the rest of the shares or whatever. So that's what happened with the last vet. My cousin, she's like, because that doctor there, you could do house, she would do house calls. You can call her, she would call you late at night. I mean, it was like, old school. She wasn't trying to sell you stuff. She was actually, you know, doing things to really help, not to line her pockets and to get her investors money, more money. Anyway, it's just a friggin' nightmare out here in these streets with the vet clinics. So if you're wondering why your veterinarians visiting fees have skyrocketed, they're wanting you to get all these prescriptions. The level of care, like everything's changing. They probably sold shares to a private equity, or they just sold it outright. So I think, and the first indication is when they create like a pet portal, like which is tied to pharmaceuticals, the pharmacy. You can get your dog's prescriptions through a regular pharmacy, like Walmart or CVS or whatever. You can get them. You don't have to get them from the vet clinic or the pharmacy tied to that vet clinic. Um, you don't have to do that because they will charge you $30 for 10, like carprofen or whatever, which is actually ibuprofen, like $30, when I mean, you can't get that uh, over the counter. You can't give your animals ibuprofen. It's a form that they have, a form of ibuprofen that they have for pets, but you can get it at the pharmacy for a lot cheaper than if you buy it at the pet store or online. So don't let them fool you. Just always check and make sure, can I get this at my pharmacy? Uh, you know, it's outrageous because the reason why it's private equity is slumlording America. They're buying housing, buildings. They're involved in healthcare, vet care, because um, because it's a moneymaker for them. They won't invest in it. They won't make it better. They will just let it, like, they're not going to invest any more money into it. They're just going to make money off of it. And if it crashes and burns because people are like, I'm not coming here anymore, they don't care. They're going to take their money and run. And this is what's happening over at this one clinic that, so she, so our doctor left to, try and start her own or whatever she's doing. But um, people, it's all over. There's like a Facebook page. There's like, and my cousin started it. It's all over because people have been going there for 25 years with their animals, and they're like, we are not going. They changed the whole staff. You walk in, they don't care. They don't want to talk to you. They just want your money. And then they're going to tell you, you need ABCD without any kind of investigation. They just want your money. So just be careful and be aware. But anyway, so what she said when she detected, and Cassie has been misdiagnosed before because when she goes, she has extreme high anxiety. Extreme. I mean, the whites of her eyes and her ears turn red when she's like in extreme. So this is a new vet, so her ears are getting bright. She messed herself a little bit, which that never happened before. And then they had the nerve to kind of look at me like as if, you know, um, I didn't clean her or something. Like she actually got so nervous she had like a little squirt. She's got a lot of hair and stuff. So the guy, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And then the vet was like, oh, I guess she's extra nervous. Yeah, she has extreme anxiety. And so what happened years ago when, well, not years ago, well, yeah, a couple of years ago, when my other vet, when the private equity took over, they hired somebody new and to help in replacing the retired vet. And she ran blood work her, and she comes in, she says she has Cushing's disease. Now that's tied to your adrenal gland and that fight or flight thing. And so when I left that one clinic because I was like, that, you know, she's never looking at my animals again. And the other doctor was so overwhelmed because she was the original. Nobody wanted to see this new person. Anyway, so I went to a vet and they ran blood work on her. And I told them, I said, yeah, I was told that she has Cushing. They said she doesn't have Cushing's. So it was like a false positive. So, so with the heart murmur, the same thing could happen. Like, because she's like so over the top nervous that, just by stethoscope, um, hearing that, it could be, because of the fact that she's like extreme anxiety, because she has no other symptoms, no coughing. We had a dog growing up, our Sandy, who had developed a heart murmur at 10. She lived until she was 18, no medication. Towards the end of her life, she had fainting episodes and that coughing thing. Um, but it was really no treatment involved because there's grade levels of it, right? But this dog, we can, when it's nice out, like spring like and not too hot in the summer, she can walk a mile every day. Like she can walk and there's no fatigue, no tired, no out of breath. Like it's, you know, she doesn't have any symptoms, no coughing, no fatigue, no like loss of appetite, no weight loss, nothing, absolutely nothing. So the only thing this vet said to me is she coughing? I'm like, no. And because she wanted to run, like, do the echocardiogram, do X-rays, and that all cost thousands, $1,000 easy. So I mean, I didn't say anything, and then she was looking at like some of her paperwork that I had brought over from her previous vet, and she walked out, and then the tech said to me she'll be right back, and she never came back into the room. So then the tech came in and said, "All right, well, we're done." I mean, it was just a general visit. It wasn't anything, weight check, um, stethoscope, and all the other things. And but she never came in to say, "This is what you look for a heart." None of that. So I just let. I mean, I was getting annoyed with her, so I just left. And then I called because all I got was a receipt from them. So I called the office and I said, "I would like to have the um, paperwork from her exam, the notes." And do you know that this vet didn't even write? She just put down grade 2 heart murmur, and um, the receptionist was looking for notes like how to care for it and any other notes alongside that. And she goes, "Oh, that's weird. She didn't even put anything down for that." So I'll have to get with her so she can like put some notes in there. I'm like, yeah, if you can do that, and then if you can email a copy of that, because I would like to have that. I have a copy of all her records. But yeah, so now I'm thinking, even though this is privately owned, there's indicators that she's probably got a foot out the door, and she's exploring selling the business because they just started their new pharmaceutical pet portal. And I'm like, yeah, there you go. There we go. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to look for some. There's a couple of other vet places around here. Two of them are privately owned. So I'm going to check those out. But anyway, but she's good. I mean, she has horrible teeth. It's like a genetic thing. Again, um, she eats fine. Um, no obvious pain. I could tell if she gets discomfort, right? So I have um, standby pain meds and standby antibiotics if it gets inflamed, but it hasn't. So, uh, but yeah, but to go in and have a routine done, thousands of dollars. But she's good, healthy. She's such a good girl. Um, and she got her nails clipped. Her nails are growing faster than normal. And they said, and I didn't know this, that the nails will grow because she just had them clipped not too long ago. And her dew claw got all curled. I'm like, and of course I got side eye for that. But I was shocked. I was like, she just got them clipped. And they said, well, they grow faster when they get older. And you have to keep up with that. It's like, dude, fuck you. But anyway, so I did get a setup, grooming setup for her because she used to let me cut her nails. She won't let me do it anymore. So I have a table and I got this grooming set up to where I can hook her up, like when you go to the groomer, so I can do it at home for her. Um, but I mean that I got that a while ago. I just haven't used it. But anyway, so she's good. I'm already rambling. How long I've been on now? I don't even know. Oh, here. Oh, I don't know. Usually I can see. But anyway, I'm rambling. So yes, today when we went on our walk right along the river, and they have or they have garden, um, I guess raised gardens. I don't know if they're not raised. We have raised gardens down in front of the building, but they have little cutout gardens all along the walkway. So all the spring stuff is starting to the hyacinths. I think that's what it's called, and daffodils. So I took one. So I got this, which is so beautiful. I just picked one, and then there's a couple out there filled with daffodils. So I got that. So really, really pretty. So hopefully they last a while in that. So and they smell so good. So I picked those up. Um, so what's else on my list? My the creators YouTube creator, Crama, drama, and reality TV. Uh, so the big thing that it's kind of quieting down a little bit, maybe, but the whole JLR thing and Magnolia, I really can't stand either one of them because they're maggots and they stomp for uh, this idiot felon. And actually, I guess I forget when it was, 10 or so years ago. Magnolia. She didn't accuse. It was a Republican senator or something. She didn't accuse him directly, and then like to get him in trouble. What she did was is she tried to set up the Washington Post or a Democratic left leaning news media. Uh, she tried to set them up with a false story. So she called them to say to get dirt on this Republican senator during a race or congressperson, whoever it was, Roy Moore, I think his name was. So she went to them to feed this fake story so to see if they would run with it so then people could say, see, they're printing fake stories about us. You don't need fake stories because guess what? Christy Gnome's boobalicious, the what is it called? I forget what it's called. Uh, Husband is out there. He's got a boob fetish, like for himself, that he wants to have big, huge, crooked nipple boobs. And he's in a whole, forum or chat room or wherever fetish thing. Like, hey, listen, live your life however you want, but don't get out here on these streets and go after people like you're all righteous and you live this pure non-fetish lifestyle and then go after other people, because that's what I can't stand about these people, because they're the ones, they're out there and then they're going to try and drag these people and criminalize it and shame them and all this other stuff, and they're doing it behind closed doors, thinking that they're not going to get caught or exposed or whatever. It's insane. So, yeah, Christy Gnome's firing. Good. Good riddance. But be careful what you wish for, because this, what's his name? Uh, Matt, I can't think of his name. It's like two names. Uh, I got to look it up now because Don Lemon makes fun of it, which is funny. I'm just going to get back on here. Who's replacing Christy? No. Matt Wayne, I think it is. Oh, Mark Wayne. Mark Wayne. It's like one name, Mark Wayne. Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma. He was named to replace her. What is going on? Hang on a second. Christy Dome's husband. Because there's a name for what he's doing. The booba. Bimbo vacation. Bimbofication. So is he doing it to make fun of women with big boobs, or does he have an obsession with? Does he want to be what he's saying? A bit. I don't even understand it. But you do you, boo. Like you do you. But don't be messing with other people's lives. This is what we're talking about. Like Republican Party always talks about get government out of our lives, but yeah, they're like right up in there in everybody's bedroom and stuff. um like he's not hurting anybody, um but he's right up in there, like getting in everybody's, his wife and all her goons. So, model reveals Ice, why they call it Ice Barbie's husband, kinky bimbo vacation sessions. Uh, And she's like shocked and stunned and stuff. Christy Noem's husband brings huge surge in Pornhub searches for boobylicious content. It's hysterical. I mean, it's hysterical. It's just like these people need to take several seats and shut the f up. Just shut up. Get out of our lives. Get out. So she's fired, but there, I think this Mark Wayne is going to be worse than her. So because he's a Looney Tunes, they're all lunatics. They're all effing lunatics. Okay, just saying. Um, so yeah, I was on talking about JLR and Magnolia's situation with the DV situation and all that. Um, like I've watched the coverage on it. I don't care now. JLR's, threatening to sue everybody, and that's what he does. I mean, he even sued the felon back in 2016 to not allow celebrities to run for president. That was his lawsuit, I think. And now he's carrying his water. This JLR is a lunatic, like, and it's funny how what he does for a living and to people that he actually hurts people, like mentally and emotionally with the way he covers stuff is crying like a big ass baby because people are coming after him for what happened between him and Magnolia on Christmas Day of last year. Him breaking her nose, allegedly, um, and she reported that abuse and all. So, but um, and so now, of course, everybody's coming after him and talking about him, and he's threatening to sue people, yada yada yada, and then his idiots that follow him. Like they're just all like that. They have really damaged brains. But what was I going to say about that? So Nerdy Addict and White Boy Radio again, and I think Nerdy Addict is a felon supporter too. So I do watch their channel. Like I'm not really sure, so I um, I don't have the time to sit with people who support this administration. So if I get a whiff of it, then I'll investigate and find out are they supportive of it? If they are, then I just don't have time for them. I just don't. So, but anyway, of course, JLR is going to go. Oh, so him and that other creator went to protest, but there's a law in Florida that you can't like protest in front of somebody's house or on their lawn or go after harass them and stuff. And that was put into place because of JLR going after Brian Laundrie's parents. So that law was put into place because of JLR of harassing people at their home. And so now Nerdy Addict went to go protest the domestic violence, but because of that law in Florida, and they're both from Florida. Well, JLR is actually from Pennsylvania, but he lives in Florida, and so doesn't White Boy Radio, and so doesn't Nerdy Addict. So he had to call the sheriff's office to make sure that hey, if I do this, it blocks away from his house. It's not in front of his house, and they were like, yeah, go for it. So he was allowed to do that. At the time, JLR was doing a live, and then he's telling his people, "Oh my God, I feel unsafe," and he was going to call the cop. He's telling his people he's going to call the cops. Blah blah blah. I feel unsafe. They're in front of my house, which they were not. But anyway, it's just comical. And then Nerdy. So then he took off and he went back to Arizona, JLR, because he had left Arizona. He went back to Tucson, and then I guess Nerdy Addict went to Tucson, and JLR knew this, and he was there harassing him, I guess. JLR, Nerdy Attic, and Nerdy Attic called the cops, and he actually got a citation. Now I'm hearing that JLR got arrested for that. I haven't seen that, and I'll probably look into that, brief or whatever. But he did get a citation, and he does have to appear between now and April 26th for what a misdemeanor ticket. I don't even know if he got a ticket for it because he was harassing Nerdy Attic. But if Nerdy Attic and White Boy Radio, and if they're felon supporters, you guys take that road, because they're all turning on each other. They're all going after each other. So, let's just sit back and let them take themselves down. Go for it, because I don't have the bandwidth for that. But it's like a train wreck or a car wreck or whatever, right? Rubbernecking. We're rubbernecking these people. The Duggars. Joseph Duggar, his arrest and it was probably a family member, like whether it was a family member of his or a family member of his wife's. Um, what's his wife's name? Kendra? Is it Kendra? I forget. Anyway, so he got arrested. Oh, it's just horrible. And the thing is when his brother Josh got arrested, he spoke out and said, "This is horrible," blah blah blah. I looked up to him. He's my idol. Blah blah blah. For him, he had this whole thing, and then he turns around, and the victim was 9 years old at the time. She's 14 now, so she told somebody. But oh my God, what is going on in that house? What is happening in that house? Like, what happened in their house growing up? I mean, I know there was weird kind of child rearing stuff happening, but really, what is going on? And another, like, it sounds like Christian nationalist, white nationalist stuff going on. Just so now Joseph gets arrested. He made bail, so his bail was total of $600,000, 100 for one thing and 500,000 for another thing. That was in Florida. That happened in Florida. They're from Arkansas or something, and that happened in Florida or Alabama, Arkansas. I forget which. So he got extradited to Florida, but he made bail. His father, Jim Bob, paid his bail, and which was 60,000, cash. Paid his bail. I don't know, but then his wife got arrested because when they did a home inspection, I guess the bedroom doors had locks on them. But in the Duggar household, they put locks on the girls' doors because of Josh going after his sisters. So what's going on in Joseph's house? That's scary. So she got arrested. She's since been out, and some say that the kids were taken away, but I don't know. I didn't see that anywhere. But he can't go around his kids. Can't be around any minor children, and that I would assume would include his own children. But his brother Jason came out, because it's all J's in the house. His brother Jason came out and just gave a speech just like he gave about Josh. So it's like, well, now we're side-eyeing you, Jason, because what's happening? What happened in your household that you have two boys, two men doing this? So it's craziness. Um, so yeah, so that is the reality TV. All these reality TV shows are just off. Craziness ensues. What's her face? Frankie, whatever her first name is. I should really be more prepared. But the Bachelorette, where they pulled it, ABC pulled it because the video came out. They knew about it, and yet they still put her on as the Bachelorette because she's like Mormon wives. What's happened over in Utah? Like Idawaya, Iowa, whatever. What Kathy from Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo says. What's going on over there in Idaho and Utah and all that? stuff. Like, so she's a crazy person, this woman, and violent. And so you can't tell me that ABC didn't know about this and they still put her on as the Bachelorette. And then, but the video wasn't out for the public to see. And then the video came out right before it was supposed to go to air. And then they pulled it, acting like clutching their pearls, like, oh, we didn't know. Yeah, you're full of shit. You knew. It just wasn't out what she actually did. So, but they might put it back. They might put it on air. They still might air it. I think they're just kind of waiting, maybe until it cools down, because some of the stuff happened a couple of years ago. But I think there's a recent incident, so I don't know the full fledged story. But I'm telling you, these reality TV shows, it's just a bunch of crazy people. I mean, and it's and um, that they put up and they make it like they're these perfect people with perfect lives when they're all a bunch of lunatics and trying to feed us bullshit. I never really watched reality TV because I just didn't buy it. And what was I going to say about, yeah, so this girl Frankie, uh here, um Mormon, um, yeah, Mormon wife arrested. So, Secret Lives of Mormon star Taylor Frankie Paul. So I wonder if she's related to the Frankie, that other scandal of, you know, but she was arrested in 2023 for the aggravated. So her and her partner, there have been several incidents. So they um, pulled it off, but they might still air it because I think people are calling in for them to go ahead and air it. Who knows? But the other thing, just she just lost custody of all her kids. What is her name? She's a Real Housewife. Real Housewife. Um, Custody. So who was it? Just read this. Just happened. Ooh, okay. This is something completely different. Oh, so Real Housewives of, it's RHOA. I'm not sure what. Kim's, what is it? Zolciak. Um, she has temporarily lost custody of her children. They're saying that she was Zolak. I can't believe I can't remember how to pronounce her name. Hang on one second. Let me listen to it.
Lines with us for a while. Kim Zolciak was stripped of
Zolciak.
custody of her 4 minor children until she sits for a therapy session. So she has temporarily lost custody of her children until she completes this therapy session. A Georgia judge ordered she must complete 4.
Oh, so it's the Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's what it is. But yeah, her husband, because she was out. Now he's saying that she's gambling and doing other stuff, but she's saying that she was out of town working. So who knows? Who knows? Messy, messy, messy lives, messy lives. And it's fine. We all have messy lives, all of us. We all have some level of mess in our lives. Nobody's like um, dragging on people who have, like, I'm not dragging on people who have messy lives. What I'm talking about is don't get out there and act like your life is perfect and everybody else is shit and you're better than or more than when your lives are as messy or messier than ours out here in these streets. And it always comes out like now more than ever because, back in the day, it was easier to hide stuff. You can't hide anything nowadays. So Megan King, so she's when I looked up Real Housewife that lost custody, this came up. Megan King, a former cast member of the Housewives. Oh, by the way, that was a clip from TMZ podcast or whatever. The Real Housewives of Orange County lost primary custody of her 3 children with ex-husband Jim Edmonds in November 2025 following a Child Protective Service investigation. The children now live with Edmonds in Tennessee. So she's got, per report, supervised visitation, later limited periodic visitation. What happened with her? I never even heard of her. See, I don't really watch these shows. I watch the gossip about these shows. I was watching Perez Hilton. I didn't really care for Perez Hilton. I didn't like how he treated people and talked about people and dragged on people. I didn't really like it. Then he kind of redeemed himself a little bit. He did come out and apologize for some of his behavior. This was years ago. And so then he has his YouTube channel and his other platforms and stuff. And so I started watching him a little bit on YouTube. And then I forget what it was, and I love the way he is with his kids and his mother. And I love that Spanish is their first language. I love that about him. But he did something, and I can't remember. I think he got a little nasty about something, and I was like, I'm not following him. But now he just recently had like sepsis or something. He got really, 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 really sick, and he was in the hospital for 21 days. He looked like he was like dead man walking when I saw the pictures of it. And so he recovered from that, and he has to work. He has to support his kids and his mother and his sister works for him. But I guess he had, another epiphany, a visit from God, he apologized again for the nasty behavior that he has, that he has done in his past. So he's back. He was back. The last video I just saw, he was back in the hospital because he had thrombosis. He had like a blood clot in his leg. So he was getting ready to get surgery. But yeah, so hopefully, he fully recovers from all that. He seems like he fully recovered from the sepsis. So the infection throughout his whole body. That's scary. But he still, still has to work, but maybe he can do it, not be so nasty about people. And he did. He apologized too. I didn't see his apology video. I just read an article. He does have it out there. So going back, so Megan King, reasons for the investigation. Oh, she gave her 7-year-old Ritalin, unprescribed Ritalin. Custody, new arrangements. So yeah. So good for the dad if the children were being mistreated or abused. Fathers are wonderful. They can be really good and step up, because us women can be they're underrated fathers. So yeah, so that popped up in my feed. What's in my YouTube? Let's see, what's on my YouTube feed? Hold on 1 second. Kanye's acting up again. He went on like this apology thing, like, I'm sorry, I was unmedicated or whatever. It's hard to forgive when somebody's that, like, when you go off the rails, and it's hard to forgive sometimes. But I guess there was something on a concert about the strobe light. He didn't want strobe lights during the show, during the set. And so he explained no strobe lights. And then, so he gets up there to perform, and the strobe lights came on. Now, it could have been tied to the program, the electronic program that automatically he did, but they came on, and he stopped the show, and he's like, I said no strobe lights. And then he started singing again, the strobe lights. So now I'm thinking they're effing with him. They're totally effing with him, because he's probably an asshole to them. And he's probably like, I don't care. Just like Who did they do that to Copel? Tony DeCopel. I mean, unfortunately, the guy got fired, but when his first CBS Evening News broadcast, the guy who was in charge of like the cue cards and all that stuff, effing with him. So he looked like an idiot. He didn't handle it well. He could have handled it well. He could have been like, "Oh, we'll be right back. We got a little glitch going on here." No, he got all indignant and like act like an idiot, and then, you know, but I think it turned out that that person did it intentionally because, you know, CBS. But let's see. Hopefully, I don't get cut out. I shouldn't. No, that wasn't it. That was not it. Is this it? Is that it? Oh, yeah. So, okay. So I see Adam Mokler comes up. You're fired. So Trump leaks truth after firing everyone. I didn't watch it. I will, though. But it's probably nothing. It's probably like, when you have these clickbaity titles. I can't stand that. It annoys me. So I watched Something's Off with Mel and Rebecca, and it's Georgia versus Faust pretrial rundown. The one about Gerhard Koenig trying to kill his wife on a cliff in Hawaii. He's saying that she tried to kill him. Yeah, he's guilty. First Amendment right. This is Something's Off. First, it's a live that's coming up. First Amendment rights, satire, activism, plus all the drama with special guest Turtle Boy. Can't stand Turtle Boy, but he has the right to say whatever he wants to say. I just ended a relationship with somebody, not a like romantic relationship, but a kind of a peer relationship. I had a feeling that this person was a felon supporter, but we just didn't get into it, and so talked about some of our own ideology and stuff. And then he started talking about how whites are being discriminated against, and black and brown people are being racist towards white. I'm like, whoa. Like, I am like multiracial, black, indigenous, Irish, English, and French. So my family we're all the nations. And my mom looks like, oh my God. All right, I see my brain. I have to come back to it. But so he starts talking about that we're the racist. You black and brown people, you're the racist, and we're being discriminated against. You're being racist towards us. And I was like, what? Oh, yeah. And I'm like, do you understand? I started to like talk to him, like to educate him. And I thought, no, his brain is damaged. So I just was like, I'm done. So, you're always willing to give somebody a chance, right? That's what it's about. Give somebody a chance. But because he was kind of like, to me, I didn't think he was like full on, maybe past support, but no, he lied. He totally, don't lie to me. Tell me who you are. And if you don't tell me who you are, I'll figure out who you are. And then I choose not to sit in the room with you. Just like I'll tell you who I am, and you have the right to not sit in the room with me. That's all. Simple as that. Don't lie and pretend and whatever. Just tell me who you are, and goodbye. So yeah, it was like, it's like, so you're calling brown and black people racist. It's like, and the whole slavery thing, it was like, oh my God, you people are twisted. But anyway, I don't like Turtle Boy. I do believe that he's being railroaded and it is, his First Amendment rights are being threatened, and, it was a whole thing. But I don't like him at all. Grizzly True Crime, Judge Grill's child abuser sentencing. Okay, so I have to look at that. I've never heard of that. Oh, how to make the perfect cat eye liner, because I want to do that. I can't. I try to get I love my eyeliner, but I can't get that perfect one. It's my eyeliner when I use it and I make the cat eye. It's messy. Messy. That's why I have my cat eye glasses. I will forever wear cat eye glasses. But let's see. Oh, Nancy Guthrie. So Nancy Guthrie, hopefully they find her. I mean, it would be absolutely beyond a miracle if she was still alive. But listen, it happens. I just saw a story of a girl who disappeared when she was 13, and they found her. She disappeared 34, 46. She disappeared, and it seemed like she came from a normal family thing, and they just found her alive, living her life, but they're not going to talk about. I guess she wants to remain anonymous. After 32 years, was it 32? Yes, located. So Arizona girl, that's why it was in my feed. Arizona girl missing since 1994, wasn't kidnapped and didn't want to be found. Oh, so this just came up. I didn't see this story. It's from NBC News. Arizona girl missing since 1994, wasn't kidnapped and didn't want to be found, officials say. Christina Marie Plante, who was 13 when she vanished, told the deputy who tracked her down that was an old life. There must have been something bad going on there. A woman who disappeared nearly 32 years ago when she was just 13 and living in Arizona has told investigators she wasn't abducted, she ran away. Christina Marie Plante, now 44 and living under a different name, told a cold case investigator from Gila County Sheriff's Office that family members helped her leave. Oh, so that's interesting because so it must have been, so who was looking for her? Who reported her? This was information we had not been aware of before we located her, says Chief Deputy James Lotzi. Up until then, we didn't know where she was, and we were under the impression she had been kidnapped. But Terry Hudgens, a former Gila County Sheriff's deputy who initially investigated the disappearance of the younger teenager who went by Tina. Oh, I'm not a Christina or anything. I'm just a Tina. But she went by Tina. In an interview Thursday, that he was mystified by all the sudden interest in this case because he said it was resolved shortly after the girl was reporting this. Oh, so they knew. They knew she didn't run away. Ooh, so I wonder who's looking for her. Ooh. Hudgens said Plante's father had custody of her, but that she wanted to live with her mother. So they arranged to meet while Plante was walking to a nearby stable to tend to her horse. He said the mother and daughter then drove to the airport in Phoenix and flew out of the state, maybe out of the country. Oh, that doesn't sound good. That sounds like it was a bad situation. Oof. Hudgens said they dropped their investigation after determining that Plante was safe. It was a custody battle. Latte confirmed Hudgens led the initial search for Plante, but said the case was never officially closed. See, these people, these abusive people, it's about like full control, and some of them will never, ever give up. Just like with this, with the case in Ohio, with the couple that was murdered by her ex-husband, who she divorced 10 years prior. They just don't. There's just something wrong and missing. We're still in the process of looking into what happened, and as new information develops, we will be providing updates. He also confirmed that Ponte told them certain family members helped her disappear, but offered no further details. Lottie confirmed Hudgens led the initial search of Ponte, but said the case was never officially closed. Gila County Sheriff Adam Shepard drew national attention to the sparsely populated county northeast of Phoenix with the announcement Wednesday that Ponte had been found. Out of respect for her privacy, the sheriff's office said it would not release any other details about her current whereabouts. Ooh, today's somebody might find her, and then she could be in danger. On Thursday, the sheriff's deputy who located Ponte revealed that she had left voluntarily with help from family members with whom she had remained in touch. I was dumbfounded, Captain James Garrett told News Nation's Jesse Weber Live showed Thursday. I guess she wasn't happy with where she was living and who she was living with, and she ran away. Garrett said she told Ponte that investigators had been under the impression that somebody kidnapped you. It was deemed a criminal offense. NBC News has not been able to contact Ponte's parents. Available records show that a woman with Ponte's name and date of birth lived in Portland, Oregon from June 04 to May 06, but both the local police and sheriff's office said they had no contact with this person. Ponte was living in a small town of Star Valley when she went missing May 16, 1994. She was last seen heading to the stable where her horse was kept. The Payson Roundup in a May 18, 1994 newspaper article quoted Hudgens as saying that Ponte had commented to friends about running away, but everybody kind of treats it not too seriously because they don't think she'd ever leave without her horse and her brother, Hudgens reported. At the time, Ponte was living with an aunt and uncle who put up a $10,000 reward for information on her whereabouts. At the time, she was living with an aunt and uncle who put up, I wonder what was going on. Her name was entered into national databases for missing children, and Mate said investigators would revisit her case periodically as the years passed and the trial grew cold. Garrett did not say during the interview how they finally located Ponte, but she said she had not wanted to be found. She said that was a long time ago. That was an old life. She's in her adult life. She has a family now. That's not something she even thinks about. Yeah, something bad was happening. Something bad was happening, and she needed to get away. But, that. Hopefully they don't out her, because I'm telling you, these people like that are dangerous, and they don't let things go, as seen in other cases. The other thing that stopped me from getting on for the last couple weeks is the Iran war, because that's what it is. And in my opinion, it's about oil. It's about control of this oil. And Netanyahu and the felon, they're both felons. Both of them, felon. And they both belong in prison. And they're genocidal maniacs. So this is what this felon goon administration has done in this past year. They have taken food out of the mouth of children, health care away from people who don't have the money, because it shouldn't be called health care, it should be called health cash, because again, private equity, investors, people who don't have medical degrees determining whether or not you get care through insurance, taking healthcare away, taking food away, taking resources away from people who need it. So there's going to be fraud everywhere. There's the minuscule fraud that happens in these services is nothing compared to the fraud of these billion and trillionaires. Their whole lives are fraud. How do you think they got to be billionaires and trillionaires? So the drop in the bucket of fraud in these services to people who can't afford it is nothing compared to the fraud that they lived their whole lives to get where they're at. That's the fraud. People down here, so what? You're going to have fraud no matter what, minuscule amounts. Nothing compared to the fraud that they perpetrated on us, and they continue to perpetrate on us. So here's what he did. He took that money from those services, and essentially he's killing people in this country by taking away these services, taking that money to kill children over in another country. So they bombed the school and killed 175 babies. They bombed another school recently, and then they're going to try and say that their own country did it because don't you can't even. His lips are moving. If any of their lips are moving, it's all lies. So, killing people over here by taking away services to kill people over in another country. There's that. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Outlander, which I'm loving. Yeah, see, so just switch it over, lighten it up. Outlander, if any of you watch Outlander who see this, uh, um, said that it's the last season. And it, like I thought, it's picking up. At first, it started off a little slow, but it's starting to pick up, get a little exciting. I watched some of the YouTube creators who, do commentary on the episodes, but some who haven't read the books and most who have read the books, and so they're conflating the two. So it's a little confusing when I watch them because I don't know what they get really deep down into the book versus show, and then I get like all but I'm liking where it's going. I like episode 5, where Jamie outsmarted Cunningham, who's trying to take over his land and rule his land. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. Chamomile tea. I have this chamomile and honey tea that I drink every night, which I love. And then I let it go cold one night, and then I took a sip of it, and it was like delicious. So I just brewed some, put it in a big mason jar, and stuck it in the fridge. Delicious. For anybody who, I do my honey from the apiary. I put honey in it. It already has honey in it, but it's delicious. Cast iron. I have my cast iron pans, and I always season them with olive oil. And they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't really do that because it go rancid, blah, blah, blah." So I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that." So I'm like, "All right, well, let me try coconut oil." And they're, "Oh, you shouldn't really do that because it could go rancid." I mean, I do the whole virgin, all the things, and it's got a nice sheen to it, and it, non-stick and everything. And then I'm thinking, I got mineral oil for my cutting boards and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, maybe I should put mineral oil on it." And I did that. And then after I did that, then I read, "Oh no, you shouldn't do mineral oil because it's," and I'm like, "Oh my God." So I washed all the mineral oil off of it. And plus it didn't have the sheen, and they said it's not nonstick. So I took all that off, and then I just went back to the coconut oil. But I think I'm just going to go back to the olive oil. So if anybody's watching this, anybody sees this, how do you season and care for your cast iron pans? What's your best method? I mean, that mine look beautiful. They're old, and they look, new. So I'm just curious what anybody else does. So yeah, so I ranted on all kinds of rants because I'm gonna have to go because I actually have been attending some of the church services. So I've been going around town. So I went, of course, to the Catholic masses, which just kind of breaks my heart because they're not lightening up. They're not progressing with the times, so they're regressing, and there's nobody attending these masses. And if I go to other churches that are more progressive and open to change and inclusive, those services are full. So I just feel they're just not, they're hurting themselves. They have got to open up. So Pope Francis, cracked the door open. So he was more progressive, right? And then he passed, but Pope Leo, who they said they'll never get an American Pope in there. Well, they got an American Pope in there. And Pope Leo, was a referral from Pope Francis. So hopefully he will crack the door open even wider, because what you're doing right now, Catholic Church, you're not moving forward with the times, and you're gonna become obsolete, because I am seeing out here in these streets that nobody is attending these services, and churches are closing all over the place. You have got to progress with the times. I mean, I have my own thoughts about who Jesus was. Um, I don't really believe in the resurrection, that he's going to actually come, you know, down on these streets. I believe the resurrection is meant for us. Like, he was about love and inclusivity and forgiveness and, helping each other. That's what he was about, and he preached that. And I believe the resurrection. What is meant by that is that we can do that. He will resurrect through us, not be a physical being here, but his resurrection comes through us to follow the goodness of who he was as a person. And I have other thoughts, and I think I've expressed it on my channel. But anyway, so going back to the YouTube. Oh yeah, Brian Enton. Everybody loves a Brian Enton. I like him. I like his reporting and stuff. But sometimes, I forget about Ashley Banfield. This woman is just a piece of work, because and Savannah's her family's gonna go after her, and I hope they do. I watched snippets of the and Savannah and Hoda, and people are dragging on Hoda. Why? Like, that's her friend she was crying with, so she was sniffling and making faces. I make faces and scrunched up, and they were just saying all kinds of hard things about Hoda. I don't understand why, and even Savannah at times, but I don't get it. To me, you know, I have my thoughts. But I don't understand why they're dragging on Hoda. She was fine. She was expressing empathy and whatever. People just need to knock it off. But yeah, I think it's looking more like, yeah, it was a planned kind of, possibly a planned kidnapping, possibly, and maybe more than one person. To me, I thought it was one person, but maybe it was two. Who knows? Hopefully they find out. Hopefully they locate her. Um, I just don't believe that she's with us anymore. But again, you just never know. You just don't. But hopefully they find her. So getting back to Brian Enton. Brian Enton is stuck on Sheriff Nanos. He is stuck on him. Yeah, so it's turning out, or looking like, Sheriff Nanos, who's a Democrat, is an asshole. Control freak. That's what the word is. Blah blah blah. They're trying to get him out, but keep in mind, it's Republicans trying to get a Democratic sheriff out. And they're sour grapes because they lost. He won. He's a Democrat. Yada yada yada. But here's the thing: if he's an asshole, he's an asshole. Democrat or Republican. You know. So they're trying to do another. I forget what it's called, like loss of confidence or whatever. So they're trying to get signatures for that to boot him out, because he's an elected official. Anyway, so he is refusing to grant Brian Enton another interview, because Brian Enton has been reaching out, or they've been reaching out to Brian Enton. These people, sour grapes people, in my opinion, who are just going on and on and on about the sheriff, and um, so the sheriff said, confronted him on it, You know, why are you coming after me? Blah 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 blah. But whatever. I mean, he could be an asshole, but Ryan is just not letting it go because he's pissed because he won't grant him an interview, and he's been given NBC interviews, but he won't grant me an interview. So he is digging in, and he is just going on and on about the sheriff. Every little episode, it's something negative about the sheriff. Every episode, and he's not he's just like a dog with a bone. So for me, it's starting to sound like sour grapes. You know, everybody. See, here's the problem: people don't like don't idolize these people. Don't like you get on these platforms and streams and news things and talk shows, and you idolize these people like they're like, oh, they can never do anything wrong, and don't even say anything wrong about don't even say anything bad about them, blah blah blah, and they idolize these people, um, and treat them as if they're not like flawed like the rest of us or messy like all of us. We're all messy, 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 messy. So stop. You got to stop. You got to stop because what happens is you put blinders on and you know, and then we end up with felons in the White House and his goons. But anyway, on that note, because it's 5 o'clock, I got to get ready because I am going to go to Easter Eve or Easter viewing. Oh no, what is it? Easter Vigil. That's what it is. Easter Eve Vigil. So I am going to attend that. It's been interesting because I've been I've been to the Catholic, I've been to the Methodist, I've been this one, the Episcopal, which I like Episcopal because they are open. I've been to Unity churches. I've been to quite a few different churches, but Episcopal is what I've been going to, and I'm also attending the group over at the Methodist church. So yeah, so I'm exploring. I've always been like that. You know, I was born and raised Roman Catholic, but my parents weren't hardcore anything, you know. But, you know, we have Jewish in our family, Jewish roots, Ashkenazi, my great grandfather, and we have Protestant, and I guess Methodist Protestant is that the same. We have everything, everything. No religion, you know, it all. We have it all. But I was baptized, had my first communion, and then my confirmation, you know, all the things. But anyway, so there is something to the stories in the Bible, which they are to me stories. And I did watch a video the other day, them talking about how many authors are in the makeup of the Bible. So that was really interesting to me. So, and I believe there's something out there. I believe something, you know, I don't know what it is, but anyway, so hopefully you can hear this because my AC is kind of loud, even though it's, you know, again, I live up north, and so, but I'm in a building that is very warm, which thank God, not complaining, but I lived in Florida for a long time too, and I got tired of having to run the AC all the time. Well, I'm in a place where I have to run the AC all the time. -8 degrees, I was running the AC. So they got great heat, great hot water. I appreciate that. But, and I do like it here. I like the community here. I like it, and I got probably one of the better view because I'm on the corner, so I have a view of the river and I have a view of the city, and it's beautiful. I got mountains. It's beautiful, so I'm very grateful. And everything is readily available. Like, you know, feel like I'm in a neighborhood in Brooklyn, which is, you know, I'm loving it. Anyway, so I'm gonna go. Hopefully, I didn't ramble too I did want to talk about Dollar Tree real quick, which is not like it's horrible because now the prices are. I saw something in there for $20. I'm like, so now you just Dollar General, and Dollar General has a bad habit of leaving all their uh, carts in the aisles and not stocking. Like their stores are always so messy. And the other day I was at Dollar Tree and it's like they had all their carts in the aisle. I'm like, oh my God, it's turning into Dollar General. They do have better stuff than Dollar General though, but I'm still going because it's right up the street from me now. I mean, not right up the street, it's across the river. But um, I was like, I couldn't believe that. I think it was a $20 item. I'm like, really? So most things are, you're not going to get anything for $1. Although they did have clearance stuff from like 25 cents. But anyway, so I picked up these earbuds because they're not the kind that go in your ear. They're the kind that go sit on the outside of your ear. I love these things because my ear canals are weird and they're too weird. And earbuds, doesn't matter what size, they do not stay in my ear. They are constantly popping out. These little things here rest on the outside of your ear and they're so light you don't even feel them. I love it. So, and these were $5. Open wearables, true wireless earbuds. I love it. I love them. So if you don't like the earbuds that go in your ear or they don't stay in your ear, you have to get these. Love it. Sounds a little on the low side, but still, absolutely love it. The other thing I got, they have all the plant garden stuff is coming out. So I don't have a garden, but I'm going to make a garden in here. But I got this solar hook lantern thing. So it's a little lantern. It's cute, little lantern, and I hung it on my window over here, and it lights up at night. Cutesy. And then this, I didn't get this from Dollar Tree. I got this from Community Thrift or Salvation Army. Salvation Army. I got a virtual reality, um, you know, headset or whatever. 360 video compatibility, and it's plug and play. It works with all the app. Has an app, and you could virtual. Because I met a woman who does like virtual reality trips around the world. So $5, $5. So I'm gonna do some virtual reality trips. Cool. But yeah, even though Dollar Tree is no longer Dollar Tree, which sucks. And be careful when you go to Dollar Tree if you're getting something. Just double check other stores because I've already caught it several times where you pick something up and it's $1.50 there or $1.25 or $3 for two, whatever. And you can get it for half the price at another store. So be very careful when you're shopping at Dollar Tree. My Dollar Tree, they have a scanner, so you can also pre-check your prices before you bring it up to the register. But I would just make sure you check online and that you're not getting a raw deal. And Dollar General just got in trouble for that not too long ago, for like price gouging, weird stuff with their prices. So pay attention. Dollar Tree, still love it until I don't love it anymore because I hate Dollar General. However, I still go there because there's some deals there. So, but anyway, I'm going to check out, get ready for church, and go to the store. And also, I got to use the restroom because I drank a bunch of tea right before I got on. Anyway, thanks for visiting. Talk to you later.